Hello, welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Marie Cato. The gravity of Europe's heatwave is escalating. France and Spain continue to fight wildfires with the support of the first deployment of Polish firefighters. Now the situation is gaining momentum in Romania and Hungary. The Danube River is experiencing record low levels, which now requires the PAC's nuclear power plant to be shut down. To give you a better idea of how heat, water and energy are impacting Europe's livelihood, let's welcome Czyżewski, energy analyst at the Polska Natury Foundation. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me. A pleasure.
So the Hungarian Prime Minister Péter Magyar has openly said that the PAC's power plant will most likely be under huge strain during the heat wave, especially over the next few days. Let's bring in a soundbite.
We are facing the most critical 5 days ahead. Tomorrow, the PAC's power plant will not be generating electricity while the hottest 40 degrees Celsius days are ahead. The power grid, our public services, and ourselves will all come under enormous strain. And I ask that from tomorrow we use the electricity even more consciously in the already known period between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. and especially between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. I ask that every company, institution, local government, and of course all our fellow countrymen try to significantly reduce or reschedule their electricity consumption during this period, if possible.
So obviously the statement sounds quite ominous coming from the Prime Minister. It also highlights a huge dependence on electricity. As we heard, the Hungarian government has asked its citizens not to charge electric cars and air conditioners. Would you be able to give us an idea of how this all comes together, this dependence on energy, especially in these conditions during this heat wave?
Well, we have to first notice that Hungarian energy system is relying heavily on nuclear energy, especially one nuclear power plant in PACS, which is responsible for around 40% of electricity generation. It's a sort of unique situation when the whole country is that much dependent on just one nuclear power plant, and that is, in a way, the core of the problem. Another vital issue here is the drought, of course. The nuclear power plant, in a way, is similar to coal power plant or gas power plant, especially in terms of need for water, cooling water. We're not talking about the water inside the reactor or in the second circuit. This is so-called a third circuit that heats the area of turbine that generates electricity. And that is the reason why the nuclear power plants are often located near large rivers or at the seaside. They need constant flow of water. Of course, they don't consume that water. They give it away to the river, in this case, Danube River, just a little bit hotter than previously. So that is the case in Hungary. Of course, the drought is the constant state of European summer now. We have drought every year in Poland, in our part of Europe, in whole Europe, really. So this is the reason behind that situation. It's not the first time that nuclear power plant had to be shut down temporarily, at least, because we see that this summer in France and previous years as well, the peak of this kind of situation we had in 2022, when France was forced to shut down for a couple of weeks almost half of its nuclear power plants, and they have 60 reactors around the country. So that was also a major threat to their electricity system. It's not clear if Hungary, in this case, in this summer situation, will be able to cover that amount of electricity from outside import, or through restrictions in energy use, as Prime Minister said. But hopefully this situation will last days or at most weeks, and the country will get through this.
Now, you say that this is more or less a regular situation in Europe. Are we expecting more and more of these operations to happen in the summers to come? Does Europe have alternative plans for Europe? Because we see that these fires, these droughts are happening in France and Spain, Hungary, Romania. Does the EU provide backup plans now? Are we ready for this, essentially?
Well, I don't think that Europe or European countries or European Union has a backup plan for shutting down many nuclear power plants. This is a unique situation, and they need water, constant flow of water to cool the turbine, that cool the entire system. The other case is that nuclear power plant needs very small amount of water compared to entire flow of rivers like Danube or Vistula in Poland. So they don't need that much water. They need water flow from 2 to 4 meters per second, and Danube River have the water flow in 1,000 meters per second. So the drought is really severe if nuclear power plant cannot even be run. So I don't know if anyone in Europe was prepared for that situation and has a backup plan. Of course, shutdowns of power plants in Europe are a regular thing. Of course, they are planned usually. And the entire system of a country or of the whole continent is safe, but we don't know how much time this situation will last. Last but not least, the European energy system, the ENTSO-E system, is a very effective system of exchanging the energy. If any country in our part of Europe or Western Europe or Southern Europe have a problem like that, we have interconnectors to sell energy to another one. We had a couple of severe situations in Poland where power generation dropped rapidly in a matter of minutes, and we were able to immediately import energy from our neighbors, from Germany, from Czech Republic. Hopefully, all of the neighbors of Hungary will be able to provide them with additional amounts of energy.
Now, just as we wrap up, I wanted to ask about the situation in Romania. So Romania will resume a military operation on Monday to remove a rock formation in the Danube River after an initial controlled underwater blast failed to increase the water flow towards the Czerna nuclear power plant. Can you just very briefly explain what this means in layman's terms for us and what this will actually provide?
Well, Romania is in a bit better situation than Hungary. It only relies on nuclear energy in 20% of their energy mix. They have a strong hydropower segment in their energy mix. They are less dependent, so the situation is much less severe than in Hungary. But of course, the drought and other situations that are threatening the Czerna nuclear power plant are very serious ones for a Romanian energy system. 20% is not 40%, but still it's 1/5 of the entire electricity generation.
Okay, Daniel Czyżewski, energy analyst at the Polska's Natury Foundation. Thank you so much for explaining all of that to us today.
Thank you very much.
And that's all for World Talks right now. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for much more news and analysis on TVP World. Goodbye.